The natural splendor in California. It is the only state where you can see mountains, sandy beaches, redwood forests, and desert all in one fire.
Seriously, Florida's the only place where someone could be like, hey, dude, did you hear that story about that dude in Florida who was high on bath salts and ate that guy's face off? And you could legitimately be like, which one?
It's Florida versus California! Get over here! Bobby Judo going first. Make some noise!
Woo! Oh man, you guys, I was so excited to roast California, and then I remembered that shit's already burnt. The natural splendor in California. It is the only state where you can see mountains, sandy beaches, redwood forests, and desert all in one fire. Incredibly progressive state, also a burning hellscape. Vinay, your state is the Christian rights evidence that God hates liberals. By the way, is Arnold Schwarzenegger still your governor, or did Vin Diesel step up? The only reason Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is not running the state is because he was like, I could do that, or I could film that Skyscraper Inferno movie. Which one am I less likely to die in a fire? And if you're listening to the jokes and you're thinking, is everything just going to be on fire? That's how it feels to live in California. Donald Trump said the problem with California's forests is that they don't rake the undergrowth. Fun fact, not raking the undergrowth is the same reason Vinay's girlfriend won't go down on him. Honestly, I was worried about this battle because there's so much to work with Florida. But Vinay is from Thousand Oaks. And if you Google Thousand Oaks, the top 3 results are school shooting, homeless man molested, 9 dead in meth lab dogfight. I was like, all right, Thousand Oaks is California's Florida. Can work with this. Thousand Oaks called that, by the way, because it's full of oaks. More than thousands. So you're unoriginal and you can't count. Great to be performing at Good Heavens, by the way, or as they call it in California, 1,000 dudes who had to come to Japan to get a girlfriend. So I've been to California, and actually, I loved it because I love myself. California is a narcissist's paradise. It's like that old saying, show me a Californian who doesn't want to be on camera, and I'll show you a cop who just murdered someone. California gave the world the Instagram influencer economy, which, like all economies, is based on supply and demand. See, they supply heavily filtered selfies, and then they demand free hotel rooms. Speaking of tech, California is home to tons of tech startups and also a large Indian community, which is why I think it's perfect for Vinay's app he developed called Inder. It's Indian Tinder, which is just like regular Tinder, but your mom swipes for you. And you can't forget California's contributions to the arts. Like that Katy Perry song. You guys know it. It goes, California girls, we are statistically more likely to be in porn. Porn capital of the United States, ladies and gentlemen. It's like if you, like Vinay, lived in California and that still wasn't enough pornography for you. It's like the only other place in the world you could come would be like, oh. But honestly, Vinay's struggling with whether or not he should go back to California, which I totally get, because every time he does stand up there, he kills his dreams of success. Vinay, you were here for the entire Obama administration, and you're thinking of going back now? I would be shocked at how bad your timing is, but I've seen you do comedy. So the last thing I'll say is the difference between California and Florida, the reason that Florida is better. Florida doesn't disappoint. See, California is the land of dreams. People move there to make it, and most of them don't. And that's got to be devastating. And I bet most of them wish that somewhere along the way, someone, anyone, respected them enough to just look them in the eye and say, "You're not going to make it." Florida, on the other hand, is a retirement community. People go to Florida to die. And guess what? They all die. Vinay, you're what, 59 this year? Maybe you should reconsider Florida.
Bobby Judo! Roasting California! Huge set. Let's make some noise. Vinay roasting Florida! Yeah!
So, Florida is famous for oranges. And on the map, it looks like America's prick. So, it's fitting that America's most famous orange prick has his vacation house there. The number one cause of death in Florida is heart disease. Unless, of course, you're an unarmed black youth, in which case it's wearing a hoodie. Florida is a hotbed for redneck culture. White nationalism is rampant there. Even the current governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, has had various ties to white supremacist organizations. I'm not saying that Floridians are worse than Nazis, but way more Jews have died in Florida than ever did in Auschwitz. I'm not saying Florida is like a concentration camp. But they both are places where Jews go to wait out their remaining days. YouTuber, occasional pretty face on Japanese television, and Instagram narcissist Bobby Judo moved from Florida to Saga, Japan. Saga is a prefecture in Kyushu, a very rural prefecture down there. Florida is where old Americans go to die. Saga is where gaijin talento careers go to die. But no, actually, moving from Florida to Japan is a step up. Bobby moved to the land of public natural baths from the land of bath salts. He lives in the land of saving face, but he comes from the land of eating face. Seriously, Florida's the only place where someone could be like, "Hey, dude, did you hear that story about that dude in Florida who was high on bath salts and ate that guy's face off?" And you could legitimately be like, "Which one?" But yeah, you know, Florida's famous for those crazy Florida man headlines, right? I don't know if you've seen them. Of course, there's Florida man high on bath salts eats homeless man's face off. Florida man high on Vicodin tosses live gator through the window of Wendy's drive-thru. Next, we're going to be seeing Florida man in Saga, Japan, high on self, tries to eat own face. In all fairness, it looks delicious. It looks delicious. Over the years, millions of refugees have fled to Florida from Cuba, escaping by boat or on rafts. It's hard to even imagine the kind of hardships they must have faced. You know, the abject poverty, the violent crime, the crumbling infrastructure. And Cuba must have been even worse. Bobby's married to a Japanese woman. Japanese women are well known for having sex with anyone except their husbands. Bobby's wife is like Florida. They're both full of black and Latino semen. People in Florida are always smoking Cubans. Bobby's wife is always blowing Cubans. Of course, Florida is really famous for Disney World, which is located in the city of Orlando. Disney World is a magical place. Orlando, like most places in Florida, is a drug and crime-addled shithole. If Disney World is the happiest place on earth, Orlando is the crappiest place on earth. In Orlando, you can find characters like you find in Disneyland, but different. Like in Disney World, they have Winnie the Pooh. In Orlando, they have Hero Winnie the Pooh. Disney World has Buzz Lightyear. Orlando, buzzed on meth Lightyear. In Disney World, you can find Sebastian the Crab. In Orlando, they just have a dude called Sebastian who has crabs. You don't want to hang out with a woman in Orlando named Ariel because you're really going to end up with a little mermaids. All right, guys, this is a comedy show, but if I can get a little serious for a moment, it's hard to talk about Florida without acknowledging all the tragedies that have happened there in the last several years. You know, you had Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Michael, the mass shootings in Orlando and in Parkland. So if I could just take a moment, if we can just like think about the victims of those tragedies. And by victims, I mean the survivors, because those poor bastards still have to live in fucking Florida. Thank you!
Rest in Florida. All right, guys, moment of truth. I'm just going to hold both mics. There we go. Make some noise if you liked California. Make some noise if you liked Florida. Oh, Florida wins something after all. Great job, guys. Awesome. Make some noise. Huge round. California, Florida. Cheers. Oh my God. Guys, we're gonna go.